let's dive into Texas A&M and Notre Dame. This is another one in a wild atmosphere. It's at Kyle Field. Texas A&M favored by 3. I was at Notre Dame's practice last week, and the noise that they were pumping in to prepare themselves for how loud it's going to be at Kyle Field was deafening. Like I literally had, when you have the ringing in your ear when you leave, It was so loud because they are worried about this environment, but trying to prepare for it. I think this is an awesome game. And it's obviously, you start with the storyline of Riley Leonard, Notre Dame quarterback, coming from Duke. And then who is the new head coach of the Aggies? Duke coach Mike Elko. I don't think either of them are all that happy that this is how randomly this worked out. I think it's going to be a little awkward, but man, is that a great storyline for the rest of us who get to watch this one.
It's going to be fantastic. And that's one of the most intriguing matchups. Like we usually talk about coach or player side of the ball, whatever the case is. I do think it is head coach versus quarterback in this one. And the way I like to think about it is Mike Elko spent a lot of time at Duke trying to figure out, okay, what are the things that my quarterback struggles with, and how are we going to create game plans to try to shelter him from that? So he basically understands all the pain points of Riley Leonard, and he's going to try to do things defensively, which we know Mike Elko, very, very aggressive coaching defense. He's going to try to do those things to upset his former quarterback. They've also got Nick Scorton, who came out of the transfer portal. We watched him at Purdue. He had 15 TFLs, 10 sacks, and Notre Dame has an inexperienced offensive line compared to their standards and some injuries going on at tackle. I think that they can get a little bit of pressure on the quarterback. I think the environment certainly does play into this one. My biggest question is with the expectations for Notre Dame's defense, and they've got dudes on the defensive line, particularly on the interior. I think they're going to have a very deep linebacker room. In their secondary, we saw what they were able to do a year ago. You got Ben Morrison coming back, who's going to be one of the best secondary players in the country. Xavier Watts takes the football away at a really high level. Will Texas A&M be able to move the ball enough? I think this is a super intriguing game. I am going to give the home field advantage some credit here. And Notre Dame, I think, might be starting off the season 0-1 in this one. Texas A&M could win it by more than 3.
I think I'm with you completely on the defense, right? I think they're going to have to rely on their defense early as Notre Dame does kind of work through some of the kinks. I mean, this is an offensive line that has 6 combined starts, which is not what you want, not ideal. But when I was talking to Marcus Freeman, he was saying, instead of sometimes you could go with guys who have a little bit more experience, or you go with the guys you think are more talented and can gel and can piece together. So they're going to be very young, but they think that they're coming together. We'll see, right? This is a great first test to see where they are. You also have questions. Hey, the way they're approaching the receivers right now is receiver by committee. Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if Bo Collins becomes the guy in the passing game. I think you're going to see tight ends get used, of course. Yep. And then Jeremiah Love, really high on him as a running back. And he is the kind of player that in a game like this, you just break off one long run, you kind of flip the game, change momentum. He could do that in this game. So I think that I loved the Elko hire because A&M needed just a football coach, someone who is normal, who is just really smart, really organized, who can just not talk and actually do and get things done. So I think this is a fascinating matchup. I'm going to give the edge to Notre Dame because I have them in my playoffs. So I do need them to, be pretty good across the board. They don't need to win all their games, but this would be a good one to start the game. But I think Riley Leonard is really tough. He's tough as nails. He can scramble when he needs to if they have issues with the offensive line early, and the defense gets the job done in a hostile environment. So I will take Notre Dame to win outright in this game at Kyle Field.